Yeah.
It's dude, I am like excited right now. Are you ready, Marte?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right.
Bigger issue that we have, not just in this country, but I'm seeing it happen globally, where there's just this dehumanization of people based on their political views. And on top of that, the devaluing of human life, right? I mean, we've been seeing images of people being butchered, children being butchered endlessly on social media over the last nearly 2 years. Prior to that, I mean, the rhetoric that devalues human life, I think, has played a role into it. But also, I just think that there's this dumb idea that all you need to do is like get rid of or take out some of the prominent figures on the political side of the aisle that you disagree with, and that'll somehow solve the issue. No, that doesn't solve the issue. What it does is it makes the situation in various countries where this type of political violence plays out far worse. Now you're hearing talk of retaliation in a violent way. When it comes to the Trump administration, you're hearing, policies that are being proposed that would limit the legitimate political speech of Americans. I am concerned about that. What that disgusting murderer did is he pushed for this country to devolve further. And I wish that cooler heads would prevail, but at the same time, I don't begrudge people who are angry. I mean, that poor wife and her 2 children witnessed Charlie Kirk get shot and killed in the neck. I don't begrudge her at all for being furious. No. I can't even imagine where my headspace would be at right now if that happened to my husband.
Right. Andrew Wilson, where were you when you heard about Charlie Kirk, and what is your view of the fallout from this?
Yeah, I was sitting with my wife watching TV. So the thing is I remember this picture circulating around of Charlie Kirk. He was debating the incoming president of the Oxford Union, and they were all smiles and handshakes. And by the next day, this guy was saying the most insane rhetoric about how he basically had it coming. So how many of these leftists have murderous intent? When we show up to have a conversation with them. We show up to debate our views. We show up to in some way engage with them. How many of them have seething murderous intent behind their eyes, and they don't really want to do any of that? They really want you dead. And that is the biggest demonstration of that, by the way, in that one single picture. You have Anna Kasparian here, and she's talking about this. The Young Turks called Charlie Kirk a fascist how many times? The Young Turks played into this rhetoric how much? They went out of their way to do so. Reuben recently called him out for doing it.
So I just called him a fascist.
Hang on.
I've literally never. I don't even call Trump a fascist.
I didn't interrupt you once.
Now, Marte, listen, I don't have video evidence off the top of my head of her doing that, but come on, I'm pretty sure they have. Remember, like when after Trump got elected, Anna Kasparian sitting. She told women that voted for Trump, I am better than you. So do you believe that?
It's hard to believe. Now, recently, I'll give her like maybe a sliver of turning more conservative. But the problem with this is I have high distrust when it comes from women on the liberal left. To be honest with you, I don't trust this because she's been on the left so long and uttered the same mantra. But now she's saying, no, I didn't say any of this. I'm very reluctant to believe any of this because of what she said in the past. That's adjacent to saying, no, this is bad, Trump bad, evil right. So it's like if you're on this side, you're on the fringe. It's like, yeah, you're bad until proven right. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I know Anna has moved toward like less left, if you will. Her and Hank have been trying to move to less left, but I don't trust them. And the thing is, this is how I trust them. I want apologies for them because their rhetoric has contributed to this. So I don't want just them going, oh, it's horrible, it's wrong. I want them to apologize because they contributed to this, definitely. Oh yeah, James, you could go ahead and unblock Duck if everyone wants that. It doesn't matter as long as he's not doing anything to sabotage the stream or anything. It's fine.
Once, lady,
but you can't make things up about what I've said about Charlie Kirk.
You can talk when I'm done talking, like I was respectful enough to let you do. So the thing is like, yes, they do. This network does do that. And these leftists do that. And they set all the rhetoric up in the world to make sure something like this happened. And they were dancing on the grave of this guy before he was even cold. I have tweets from Destiny, which are insane. The leftists have gone off the reservation. And it's time for us to stop pretending that it's not their rhetoric which is leading to these types of assassinations, because it is. I don't want to hear about factions. All of you guys are doing this. All of you guys have the same type of rhetoric which leads to this, or the networks you work for do.
Well, Anna, let me let you respond to that before I bring Cornell
I've never called him. I have never called Charlie Kirk a fascist, number one. In fact, if anything, we have received a tremendous amount. I don't remember Trump. I don't remember Cenk calling Charlie Kirk a fascist. In fact, Cenk and I got into a debate about whether or not, hold on. I don't remember Cenk calling Charlie Kirk a fascist. He called Trump a fascist, and he and I got into a debate about that. But to lump in everyone on the left together, I don't agree with Destiny on anything these days. Destiny is totally unhinged in his rhetoric, 100%. I have been critical of Charlie Kirk's political views, but going around referring to people as Nazis, turning the temperature up, I did not engage in that. So I just want you to at least be fair about what I've actually said about Charlie
There's no
Kirk.
actual reason for us to believe leftists at this point. It's very clear that while they come out with a handshake and wanting to have these conversations, they claim, right? In reality, what they're doing is they have murderous intent, and they'll celebrate you the day that you die. The next day, they'll go after your wife. Thousands of social media accounts going after her wife, or this guy's wife, after she made a speech about her poor husband. Yes, it is your side that's doing that. Like it or not, it's your side that's doing that. There's no equivalency between the right and the left on this. Yeah, okay, fine. You're not a leftist. I'm sorry. Are you on the left wing? Are you a Democrat? Are you more of a Democrat than you are a Republican? Do you move towards those types of issues?
I'm not a Democrat. I actually registered as an independent.
Fine. You register as an independent.
Come on, you gotta at least know what my views are if you're gonna attack me.
All right, let me bring in. All right, let me bring in.
I've been attacked by the left over the last 3 years.
All right, let me bring in.
No. Look. I've been attacked by the left. No. Let me just at least address that. I've been attacked viciously by leftists over the last 3 years because of the fact that I want to engage in this type of dialogue, because of the fact I was willing to sit down with Charlie Kirk and with Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro. I'm willing to have conversations, and I don't go around labeling people as fascist and racist and Nazis just because I disagrot with them.
Not anymore.
So just at least understand what my political views are. Listen, I'm not going to be blamed for what everyone in that company has to say. Anyone in that company has to say.
The
I'm
head
an
of that company?
We are supposed to judge people based on individuals. He did not go around calling Charlie Kirk a fascist and a Nazi.
Saying that you don't have good reasoning skills. If it's the case that you think, oh my God, you can't be calling people Nazis. You can't be calling people Nazis while your boss does all the time.
Why are you making that up? You're just making it up. You're just making it up. We're all the same. That's how simple-minded you are. You're all the same. Okay, then everyone on the right is just like Dylan Roof.
All right. Let me bring in. I want to bring in Cornell West. I want to bring in Cornell West. I want to bring in Cornell.
That was great. See, this is why I love Andrew, because these are the things that I would love to tell Anna Kasparian, Cenk Uygur, all of these things. Because here's the thing, like she might have like, oh, well, I'm no longer a leftist, but she was. And for the longest time, she was participating in this very same rhetoric. Both her and Cenk were participating in this rhetoric. And just because they move slightly more to the center, it doesn't absolve them from all the previous rhetoric. I don't know. What do you think about that, Marte?
I think that if you have a snake in a basket that moves slightly more towards your direction, it's still a snake in a basket. And here's the thing, though. Cenk is a vile person. I mean, there's a good reason why the Crucible calls him chunk yogurt. The reason why is because not only are they vilified for saying this and uttering this culture nonsense of Trump being this. I mean, it's not far-fetched for anybody to say that she's redeemed in any slight. Like you said, I'd love to hear a response of an apology from her or Cenk, but I doubt we'd hear any of this because all they do is push back and deny. That's all they do. And all I hear is bitterness from their side and no redemption because they'll never ask for forgiveness for any of this rhetoric that they've espoused to have.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. 100%. That's why I'm like, no, 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 no. None of this no more. It's like, well, I condemn this. It's like, no, I want an apology because all of you guys are like you guys added to this. They were always telling their audience for years the Nazi fascism stuff. Just because they don't do it anymore doesn't mean at one point they didn't. So that's what I
Yeah,
would have
we can literally
go ahead.
look up videos of Cenk uttering this and repeating this ad nauseum on the Young Turks. Often, matter of fact. And then here's the thing, though. She's complicit because let's say she didn't ever utter any of this. She has been on panels as he's uttered this and nodded to her head. To me, that's language and also ushering in the semblance of, hey, I'm promoting this by association. I'm on this panel. You're my boss, and I'm going to nod my head as Cenk said this. That's a problem. You can't say that you're not saying this while nodding your head to Cenk uttering this nonsense. To me, that's just stupidity and obfuscation to me.
Exactly. 100%.
Wait, shut up,
please.
lady.
Let Cornell come in now.
Shut
He's
up,
been
lady.
waiting very patiently. Cornell, welcome back to Uncensored, where things are getting incendiary quite quickly. I think the overriding point I would make about the debate we've just been hearing between Andrew and Anna is that there is little doubt to me that the constant rhetoric on the left, the woke left, let me be specific to where I think a lot of the blame lies, ever since Donald Trump came into power in 2016, has been this relentless use of the phrases Hitler, Nazis, fascists about Trump and about Trump supporters. And the problem with constantly saying this as a group, as the woke left have done for 9 years now, is that eventually it permeates down to young, impressionable minds who genuinely believe that it is their mission to stop America from being taken over by the new Nazis or the new fascists or the new Hitler. And that leads to the kind of thing we saw with Charlie Kirk. Do you agree that this language, this relentless, in my view, woeful misuse, particularly of the word Nazi, towards Trump and his supporters, this is part of the problem?
Well, I think part of the deeper problem, though, Brother Pierce, is that the organized greed and weaponized hatred and routinized indifference toward the vulnerable has come together in such a way that it has eroded the sources of character formation, so that integrity, honesty, decency, and self-critical sensibilities of individuals and groups is more and more disappearing. So you end up with because hatred itself is promiscuous, just like greed, just like indifference toward the suffering of others. It's promiscuous. It will lie with the left, right, center. It lies with Christians. It lies with Muslims. It lies with Jews. It lies with Buddhists. It lies with Hindus. And human beings were so wretched in the first place. If we don't undergo some kind of spiritual and moral cultivation, we end up falling back on greed and hatred and indifference. And I mean, the American empire at this moment is one in which the lethal combination of the hatred and the greed and the indifference generates very much the exchange that we just saw. You see, this brother right here says, well, all leftists want to see me dead. Well, I'm a leftist. I don't want to see you dead. I'm a Christian.
You called Trump's administration a neo-fascist movement, you lunatic. You people have gone out
You're
of your
absolutely
way.
right.
You have gone out of your way.
Let me make the case. Let me make the case. Let me make the case.
Oh, yeah,
Will you allow me to speak, brother? Come on, man. Come on. No, you haven't made the case. If you think I've made the case, then you're not interested in dialogue.
You just said this brother over here said this.
You're very, very different than Brother Charlie, man. You're very different than Charlie, though, man. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
and I can make a case for that,
people
too.
like you that got that man killed, sir.
No. There are such a thing as neo-fascists. But Pierce, why you have a brother on who's not going to allow nobody to speak, man? We're just wasting time. If all you're interested in is making your money and you bring this brother on it and nobody can say a word and we can't even mourn Brother Charlie passing. I had dialogues with Brother Charlie. This brother's going to say, oh, this kumbaya and so forth. No, Charlie was made in the image of a loving and mighty God. I believe that. I say my prayers for Sister Erica and the kids because this brother wants to trash my Christian sensibility. And look at him laughing now. It's a joke, man. Pierce, it's not worth it. The
Is
dialogue
Charlie
is not
Kirk
worth
Oh
it.
part
shit,
of the
rage quit.
neo-fascist
Not
movement?
with this brother.
Is he part of your
Listen,
neo-fascist
not with
movement?
this brother.
Yeah.
When
Run
Charlie
away. Run away. Run
himself
away.
says that he is against Civil Rights Act, does that make him a proponent of Jim Crow? When he calls Martin Luther King Jr. an awful human being and a scumbag?
There it is.
I'm critical of that. I am critical of that. You're absolutely right, Brother Wilson. You're absolutely right. But if all you're going to do is be arrogant, you're arrogant just like the so-called leftists you're talking about. But Pierce, you making your money, brother. Go on and make your money, man.
Dude, you know what? Oh, go ahead, Marte. You can start it off.
So Cornell West is blatantly wrong here. Here's the problem with his side. And this is what I'm going to point out. On their side, they're playing a word shell game. If I can get away with calling people Schnazis to the point to where the words are meaningless, therefore calling somebody racist and calling them neo-Nazis or anything like this is also meaningless. He's also saying that his words don't do anything. Mind you, pay attention to the last of the reel when he was saying, well, he keeps interrupting me as he wasn't interrupted, and using this time to talk about how he was interrupted while using word shell games that we were talking about in the same rhetoric that he's accusing them of, he himself has done. He doesn't like being pointed out for having the same rhetoric by Wilson himself. This is hilarious because he's pointing a mirror up to them and showing him, hey, this is your rhetoric as you accuse me of doing what you're doing yourself, which is hilarious.
Yeah, exactly. And what the thing is about these crazy lefties, like this happened to Cenk too when Dave Rubin confronted him on Piers, is that they'll be like, well, didn't you call Donald Trump a fascist regime? Like at first they'll be like, I never said these bad things. I don't wish death. And then we'll be like, well, didn't you say this about Trump's regime and Donald Trump and stuff? They're like, well, yeah, absolutely. I did because he is. It's like, you guys don't even know how psychotic you are. You guys really believe these things. So to them, they don't think they're lying or spreading propaganda. They just think they're telling the truth. They're so far gone.
That's because they've uttered these words so much that they're meaningless. So if I call somebody a racist so many times, guess what? It's almost like a crazy ex who says her boyfriend's a narcissist. Now all of a sudden you're making the word so meaningless when less than the 4% of the population are actually diagnosed narcissists. So if I do the same thing with calling people Schnazis and calling them all these political taglines, guess what's going to happen? They figure they're meaningless so they can go ahead and use a broad stroke with language and hide behind these words that they've uttered. Yet when Wilson, I mean, rightfully so, magnifies and corrects the record on this, they get really pissed because they see themselves by Wilson's words. I think that this is justice, and I love to see it.
Hell yeah. Let's see if Andrew gets this guy to successfully walk off.
This is not worth it. This brother right here is part of the problem. This other brother who has a deep connection to Charlie, he's willing to at least listen, but this brother's not willing to
Cornell,
listen.
can you sit down? I would like you to remain part of the debate.
This is ridiculous.
Dude.
This is ridiculous. He's smoking his cigarettes with his arrogant self. Come on, man. We don't have enough dialogue at all.
Surely you're not going to walk out in a debate about dialogue.
Go on and make your money, man.
Right.
Damn.
Well, there's a kind of farcical to quit a debate where we're literally debating about the importance of free speech and being able to listen to each other.
These people, they can't handle being confronted with the stuff that they do. They can't handle it,
There's two things that happen here, which I noticed. He started pointing out, how come you're not acting like this guy who's not correcting me on the truth? That was the funniest thing. I was like, oh, so you want me to be silent like this guy who hasn't uttered a word in correcting the record? And here's the thing that happens in debates all the time. When you're losing a debate, you're just going to point out to other things that have nothing to do with the picture, like the cigarette in my hand. So to me, this is classic textbook losing a debate. And then the third thing, rage quitting, as we see here. So I need popcorn for this, but this is fine. I'll do without.
Yeah, hell yeah. And now I'm hearing from the chat that it gets better because I guess Destiny comes in. Now enters the Coomer Gremlin. So I think things are about to get really good now. Let's see what happens.
I haven't seen this, so this is even better. I love it.
Yeah, same here. I haven't seen this either. I'm just going by what my chat's telling me, but I'm excited. Let's see what happens.
There's opinions, which seems to me completely insane. Anyway, we've lost Cornel West for now. Maybe we'll get him back. Well, Andrew Wilson referred to Destiny's insane tweets a little earlier, which were disavowed by Anna Kasparian. Well, Destiny joins us now. Destiny, you've been quite active on social media since Charlie Kirk's death. When Erica Kirk posted Charlie's coffin, you responded, she tagged him, brackets, crying face emojis. In response to Alina Haber's tweet ordering people to fly their flags at half-mast in memory of Charlie, you posted on X, buying flags and poles just to fly them fully erect. And you then posted yesterday, ending every conservative debate call out I'd do in 2026 with "Don't dodge, bro." That's not what Charlie would have wanted. I mean, do you think that your response to the cold-blooded murder of Charlie Kirk has been appropriate?
Yes. I think that the only way this country moves forward into a better world is when conservatives can finally realize that they need to turn the temperature down on their side. We are 10 years into whatever this Trump madness is, and there is not a single mainstream conservative that will call for a lowering of the temperature on their side. I think that liberals need to wake up and finally realize that if they're not willing to do it, it will never come down. If you wanted Charlie Kirk to be alive, Donald Trump shouldn't have been president for the second term. Every time he's in office, this happens. People joked about when Biden came in, it was so boring, nothing was going on. 7 out of 10 of the largest protests in American history have happened under Donald Trump. All of the recent political violence that's happened in this country over the past 20 years, the majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it, everybody gets mad because they keep asking Grok about it, has been conservative.
Who shot Charlie Kirk?
A guy from Utah who was raised in a Christian family, who was a 22-year-old
white
dude.
described.
He wasn't
Destiny.
trans. He didn't have a trans girlfriend. He didn't have any trans influences. He didn't have any trans bullets. Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys were wrong on all of that.
To be clear, the governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, has made it clear that their investigation has now established that he had been radicalized by a left.
Real quick, Marte, thank you very much for the $5 dono, man. Much appreciated. Hell yeah. But I gotta ask this because I'm just wondering, Destiny, his go-to is it's always just to blame Trump. Like I always thought, like I've always wondered, like, is he just a troll, like a grifting troll? Like I'm not saying he's really a fan of Trump and he's just covering it up. Like I'm sure he doesn't like Trump, but do you think it's TDS or do you think he's just trying to troll? Like what do you like get a rise out of people? Like what do you think it is?
I think that Destiny has created a platform and also grounding for himself, and he must stick to this. I think that if he goes away from this and doesn't inch away like the Anna Kasparians of the world, he'll be a contrarian, a literal walking contrarian. Right now, he's in enough hot water as it is right now, and I think he's just going to dig his feet in the ground. I think he's one of these people that I'm not going to accuse him of putting his head in the sand, but he's going to dig his head in the ground. He does the same thing with debates, and he's going to do this with his rhetoric. He doesn't want to move from this because he's afraid that he's going to be called a contrarian and move away from his whole fan base. So, I mean, I think that that's part and parcel to what it is. As far as like his mindset, knowing that where his stance is, I don't actually presume to know, but it's just nonsense. He's going to get destroyed every nook and cranny where it comes to this rhetoric. It's going to fall every time by Wilson's hand or my hand or Rob Noor's hand. So,
yeah, exactly.
This ideology which drove him to do this. That's just.
I'm sorry. Excuse me. When?
Yesterday, you said that.
No. When was he radicalized? In the 6 months that he did remote college?
I don't know when he was radicalized, but I do know.
What you just said
I do know the very reasonable sounding governor of Utah has made it clear that the you may not want to hear this.
Ongoing investigation.
You may not want to hear it, Destiny. But the reality is, the investigators, according to the governor of Utah, have established that he was radicalized to a leftist ideology that drove him to murder Charlie Kirk. Now, let me just ask you.
That's just not true.
Let me just ask
you. There's no way to deal with it.
Okay, you're accusing the governor of lying. Yeah. That's your prerogative. But sure. If it turns out to have been somebody with a leftist ideology who wanted to shut up Charlie Kirk, would you condemn that?
I won't condemn anything until the president of the United States can go on air and say, all of us need to calm down.
So you won't condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk? until Donald Trump says something.
I'm a YouTuber. Leftists and Democrats have been condemning and turning down the temperature, condemning violence, turning down the temperature for a decade. Donald Trump can't go on TV and say, all of us need to calm down.
Right.
Can you tell me why he cannot?
Why would you expect anybody, Destiny?
You can't answer that. Can you answer that question? Why can't
Can
Trump
you
go on
answer
TV
this
and say,
question?
all of us should be less violent.
Why do you
can't
think
Trump say that?
Why do you
Why
think
is your behavior contingent on Donald Trump?
Insane right now.
Why
do you
is
think?
your
No, let me
behavior
ask a
contingent
question.
on Donald Trump?
Let me ask a question.
Because he's the president of the United States of America and the leader of the
Destiny. Let me
you have a huge audience of young men who
I'm a
listen to
YouTuber
everything you have to
who
say.
has more
So
young
when
men
you,
following
it
him.
doesn't matter.
Who
You
has
have a
more young-
huge
it doesn't
audience,
matter.
and because
This
of
is
the fact that you
world
have a
I'm
huge
living in,
audience,
and
you
your
have
brain
a
has been
responsibility
broken by
to not
online
turn.
rhetoric.
No,
And
it
your
hasn't.
brain
It
has
hasn't been
been
broken. I actually
destroyed
care
because
about the
people
country
bully you
and
on
want to bring
Twitter.
people together.
If
You
then
do the
you should tell
opposite.
Donald
You
Trump to
represent
tell
the
people
worst
to
of us,
be
Destiny.
less
You're
violent.
embarrassing.
You should tell
You're
Donald.
embarrassing.
All right, let me ask
Watch how
Destiny
easy
a
this is.
question.
Watch how easy this
No,
is.
hang on.
If
Don't all
Trump
shut
were to
at
come out
once,
and say-
please.
If Donald Trump were to come out
Destiny,
and say, "Hey, we should all be less violent,"
Destiny,
I have no problem saying.
I have one
absolutely.
question for you,
Why
Destiny.
can't conservatives do that? Why can't
Destiny.
conservatives do that?
Destiny, I have a question for you. Why do you think in your campaign for everyone to dial down the temperature, why do you think that mocking the grieving widow of Charlie Kirk when she posts an image of her at the coffin side, why do you think that constitutes turning down the temperature?
You can't turn down the temperature on your own. The president of the United
You
States is
inflame the
not
temperature.
able
You're
to-
mocking
No,
his
it's
widow.
already inflamed.
You're
What are you
mocking his
talking
widow.
about? We've had multiple political assassinations over the past year. What do you mean it's turning up the temperature?
Why did you mock his widow?
Online because
Why did
she's
you
being
mock his
wielded
widow?
as she's
You know, notice like because he just likes to default to like oh well, Trump's the president, so he has to turn it down. However, when Biden was president and Donald Trump almost got assassinated, Destiny wasn't on here saying, well, Joe Biden needs to turn down the temperature. He was still blaming it on Trump. Like, well, that's what you get. Like, no matter what with Destiny, he just, oh, Orange Man bad.
Destiny is just liberal gasoline. Remember when he was making fun of the firefighter who passed away? I can name several instances where he's fanned the flames himself, but what he's going to do is very slick. He's a slimy Coomer gremlin. He'll slither away from his own accusations into his own doing in this and then obfuscate and then also point the blame at somebody else. Matter of fact, name one time in this whole debate when Donald Trump's name was brought up. Nobody ever brought it up but him. What he likes to do is move this goalpost. He's a constant goalpost mover. He's done this in my debate with him, and he does this here. It's a classic move by him, and it's very slimy. This is what he does, obviously.
Yeah, exactly. Very slimy indeed.
because she's being used as a political weapon right now for conservatives to continue their fight. What do you mean, wow? She's literally doing
her husband just got murdered
on email. Yeah, and she's using it to drive up recruitment for
and
a
you
political
can't even
movement.
condemn the murder. You won't condemn it.
Can't even tell his side.
You're
to
so
turn the
deranged
down.
about Trump
that
you cannot condemn the murder because you're waiting for Donald Trump to say something.
Off of it.
All right, let me bring in Jack. Let me bring in Jack Posobiec. I got to say,
there's still no answer to that question, Piers. You can't say
which question?
Why can't Donald Trump simply go on TV and say
oh my
we
gosh.
all need to turn it down,
Fine.
like Biden could, like Obama could,
Fine.
like the Clintons could, like Kamala could.
Fine.
Why not?
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie
it's
Kirk?
Unbelievable. I'm not the president.
Why
of the United
can't
States.
you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Unbelievable to me.
Why can't you condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because it wasn't my side that caused it. It should
yes,
be the
it
one
was.
that is driving up
it
the
actually
rhetoric.
was your side that caused it. It was your side.
This guy was raised in a white Christian
He was a
household,
radicalized
in a Christian
leftist
state.
ideology.
He wasn't radicalized by leftism.
Oh, by the way, Martine, I think it's funny that I think it's funny this big self-own when they're like, it's not on our side. This guy was raised in a nice Christian family.
Yeah, and here's the thing though, Morgan is begging him, pleading him to come out with any condemnation for this. In Destiny, like I said, he's not digging his head in the sand or putting his head in the sand. He's digging his feet in the ground even further. He's reiterating my whole emphasis of what I'm saying, of him not budging. Like I said, so when you talk about my belief, if he really believes these lies that he tells, I don't know this because I can't presume to know his mind, but we're seeing this live in real time right now, both you and me, him digging his feet, not budging from even condemning the murder. This is ridiculous. Like, this is heinous.
I know, and I'm glad Pierce is like trying to hold him to his feet to the fire by making him say, "Hey, why can't you condemn the murder?" Like, I'm glad, but every time you do that, you notice that he'll start to spurg out big time. It's like his move, you know?
Yeah, he won't do it, but I'd love to see him do this, and even then, I won't even believe him. It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly. Give me 1 second. My freaking audio went out real quick. Um, I don't know. My stupid computer does this sometimes. It like just drops my headphones. So just give me 1 second.
Nah, you're good. Take your time. It's funny because I'm watching in like we're saying, I don't consider Anna a centrist. She'll say that, hey, I moved further to the center. But here's the thing, though. I do believe that she's still on the left. She's still going to
Yeah.
utter the same talking points of the left. And what you're seeing right now is it's hilarious. Notice Andrew Wilson didn't even have to get in because they're eating their own. Like I said at the beginning of this, when you and I got together to co-host this thing, they eat their own and they'll continue to do this and they're going to continue to fall on their swords. I love watching this right now because we're seeing this in real time. This is a great example of them doing this.
Yep, exactly.
At all. You have no proof of that whatsoever.
That's what
Just
the
like
investigators
the
are saying.
was a conservative, just like the people that firebombed Shapiro's house was a conservative, just like all the J6ers were conservatives, just like the Proud Boys were conservative. Every single one of these people. Oh, it's Jack Brzovic, what, the author of Unhuman, another person that Charlie's putting. Good one, dude.
But I'll give you one last chance, Destiny, to condemn the murder of Charlie.
Yes, you are
Kirk.
acting like an unhuman.
Why can't I hear Donald Trump
Because you were against
condemn violence
So,
in this
all
country?
right, you won't condemn it. Okay, we've all heard.
That's insane.
We've
to
all
me.
heard you repeatedly refuse to
And
condemn
we've
it.
heard Donald Trump refuse to condemn
Jack
it too. But for some
Posobiec.
reason, the leftists on YouTube are a bigger deal. Unbelievable.
Yeah, what's incredible is you don't have the basic humanity to condemn it. You'd rather taunt his widow. I find that sickening. Jack Posobiec.
I find it sickening that when people are getting killed in the country, the president of the United States on Fox and Friends, when they're begging him, what do you say to your followers that want revenge? He says, I don't know. All the elections are rigged. It's the radical Democrats. That's insane to me. And then the fixation is, well, who on Twitter and YouTube isn't condemning the violence?
All right, Jack
Piers,
Posobiec.
you have a great example.
Yeah, and they don't like it. Like, I like when anything else, like for instance, let's say a white cop shoots a black man, they have no problem in coming to conclusions and being like, well, it's definitely racism, white supremacy, racism, all this nonsense. But then when it's clearly a left-wing activist that does something, all of a sudden they're like, well, we don't know if it's for sure a left-winger. We don't know this. We need more evidence. Like, what do you think about that?
And if you notice, Donald Trump is not in the room. They're talking about somebody who can't presently defend himself on Piers Morgan. The onus is on Destiny to refute this and actually condemn the murder. And then when Pushin asked about this, where's the accountability? Where's this? He's shielding himself by obfuscating and actually pointing the blame at somebody who's not even present. This is classic scumbaggery and very slimy for him to do. He's done this in debates, like I've said before, and we're watching this in real time. So, I mean, he's going to constantly keep doing this. I can predict this. I don't have to be a fortune teller to tell you this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's funny. He wants Donald Trump to do that, but he can't even do it himself. Like, he can't even be like, we could always be like, well, why don't you set the example, Destiny? And he can't do it. He can't do it.
Yeah, and the onus is on him. He's being called directly right now.
Yeah.
And it's almost like Destiny has hearing plugs in right now and can't even hear this, and he's saying the la 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 thing right now. And that's all he's doing. He's not listening to hear anything. He's just listening to respond. This is a classic case of also this as well, too.
Exactly.
We'll hear of the type of cancer I'm talking about, where when you present direct information, they refuse, they obfuscate, they refute, they say it's not true, they lie. You could see from the bullet casings, you could see from postings, you could see from everything out there that it's very clear what happened here. This is the same people who supported President Trump almost getting assassinated twice last year, Cory Carpentore being assassinated
By
last
conservatives.
year in a situation. Again, see, just lies. That's all they do. They talk over. They don't even let you give a chance to speak. And something needs to be done, Piers. Something absolutely needs to be done. This ideology should be shamed, humiliated, driven from the public discourse. I mean, you've got people who have completely dissociated with humanity because all they care about clicks and YouTube streams and likes. Go to the casket. Go to the gravesite. Go talk to the widow. I don't even know how to discuss this with someone who's completely lost all touch with reality.
Yeah, I mean, Anna.
What's Jack's answer to why can't the president say we should all be less violent?
Right. because you can't even condemn the
Bam.
cold
Because I can't.
execution of
Donald
Charlie
Trump
Kirk.
turns on
I don't
Destiny
think
on
you're in the
YouTube,
position
and he
to
says, "I
demand
wonder what
anything from
Destiny's saying
anybody.
on YouTube." That's how I'm going to take my.
You're
my
not in any
pointers from.
position
Really?
to condemn anybody for anything. You
I
won't
absolutely
condemn a
am, because he's the
cold-blooded
president
murder.
of the United States. He's the president of the United States. No one here can answer that question.
Basic
Why Donald
humanity
Trump-
says
why
the murder
Donald Trump,
was
the president,
horrific.
can't say
Why can't
all
you
of us
say
need
it?
to be less violent.
Why can't you
Democrats have
say
been
it,
saying
Destiny?
for over a decade.
To
Democrats
say
have been
the
saying it for over
murder
a
was
decade.
horrific and
Why
unacceptable.
can't Donald Trump say it?
You
why,
can't do
why
it,
does
can
anyone
you?
hear any words for Donald Trump?
All right,
What do
Anarchist
you have for
Baron.
Donald Trump? Nothing exactly.
Anarchist Baron. To me, this is what I'm talking about. That I think there is an element of the left, the hard woke left, that have completely lost their minds. If you are not able to just outright simply condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk, and if you cannot stop yourself from mocking his grieving widow, you are sick, as I've just seen from Destiny. It's a
The
it's a
sick thing
mindset.
is weaponizing a
Oh my
widow's
gosh, you
grief
can't
to
shut
try to
up.
do recruitment for your political party. That's probably one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen. She's showing up in emails for recruitment
what would
drives for
you
TP
expect,
USA.
though, Destiny?
24
What did
What
you
would I
think
expect
the
for somebody whose
assassination
husband
of a
was just
political
killed? I
figure
would
would
say you
do?
probably
What did
take-
you think
you pro-
the outcome was going to be? What did you think the
what do you-
outcome was? And
hold
by
on,
the
I'm
way,
sorry, are you asking
really,
me for the
your
pragmatic political outcome, or are you
behavior?
asking
Hold
me
on,
for?
let me. Hey,
You
how
asking me a
about
question,
take it
so I
easy
didn't know
on
it
the
was rhetorical.
Adderall? Take it easy on the Adderall, and let me answer the
Oh,
question that Pierce
Sorry,
asked
I
me.
must have been really
Okay,
bullied today. I
my
guess.
Let Anna
behavior-
speak, please.
My behavior is not reliant on how anyone else behaves. Every morning I wake up and I make decisions about how I choose to react or respond to things. I don't wake up in the morning, check what Donald Trump has to say, and then base my own personal behavior on his behavior. I agree with you in that it would be very helpful to have the leader of this country want to turn the temperature down. And he hasn't done that. I agree with you on that. But that doesn't change the way I choose to respond to what's going on. The idea of mocking a woman who is now a widow with 2 young children who witnessed her husband get shot in the neck and bleed out to death. How could you mock that? What is wrong with you? I just don't understand it. That's it. I don't understand it. I don't understand you, Destiny. You have so much hatred in your heart, and at the same time, you
it's such a
judge
simple thing.
others
If you're
as
going to
hateful.
weaponize somebody's grief against the other party, well, then of course people have a right to fight back against it. I think that she has every right to grieve in whatever way she wants, but when that grief is going to be weaponized to do recruitment, political recruitment, and further radicalization of the other side, then of course you not only have the ability to mock it, I think you have the obligation to mock it. It's insane.
Let me understand. Let me understand your argument. So since others are using her grief to politically recruit, you think that it's okay to mock her specifically?
Since others
How
are
does that make
using
any
her grief,
sense?
she's the one who gave a 17-minute speech on TV where she talked about good versus evil. She's the one showing up in
Destiny,
TP
let me
USA
explain.
ads to
let
1
me
or 2
explain
days
something to
after.
you. If someone assassinated my husband, I would not be able to have the level of composure she had during that speech. I would be out for blood. I understand why she's angry and why she said the things that she said. Okay, you need to understand what being a human is, what it's like to actually lose someone that you love, that you chose to spend your life with, that you chose to raise children with, a person who was violently and viciously assassinated like that. This is why I've moved
That's fine.
away
And when
from
something yeah, I know, yes,
identifying as
because
a
you got bullied online. It's so funny. It's so funny
are
that you just
so
said that you
embarrassing
don't
on the
think about
left.
how other people act to define your behavior. Your entire political ideology now is somehow defined by the people that were mean to you on Twitter.
No,
if somebody
it's
cares
not.
about somebody who's
No,
grieving,
I
then
understood
you tell that
what
person,
the flaws
you
on
tell
the
that
left
person,
happen to
hey,
be. The
maybe you should
weakness in their
step back for a
arguments.
couple of
No,
weeks.
no, it's
Maybe you
not
should
about
take
the
some
way
time
I
to
get
grieve.
treated.
You don't
I
say,
get
hey,
treated
let's
like
throw a
crap from
camera in
both
front
sides
of
of
you
the
and have
political
you do
aisle.
mass recruitment for our political party while everyone over here is calling for civil war. It's
You know, it's crazy he keeps calling it like mass recruiting, like she's trying to start this, like, I don't know, right-wing army or something. All she's doing is trying to continue Charlie's work. That's all she's trying to do. But I don't know. I wouldn't expect Destiny to understand this. I mean, after all, he let his wife you know,
Well,
well, we all know his marriage life.
Destiny's extremely tone deaf. For one, Anna points out something that I was actually going to say. She took the words out of my mouth. I don't want to share too many words with her, by the way. Being mindful of this, I think that we're on the cusp of not even having a procession yet, and Destiny wants him to turn the people to turn the other cheek, as if something just happened in front of a man's daughter. Now, you have to think that Destiny is removing the humanity of a response and just saying, this is a very selfish I say tone from Destiny. Like I said, he's very tone deaf and isn't really thinking about a family that just lost the head of their family. And when we're thinking about this, you know, you're talking about a widow that just came off from having a speech and just trying to maintain some kind of composure. He's very tone deaf here and doesn't think that there's any humanistic response that anybody should have, and going right to a selfish response. But what about us? But what about this? To me, this doesn't really make any sense, and I don't understand Destiny's position in this argument.
I actually really don't either. It's the only thing I could see is just a guy who just wants to kind of weasel his way out of any sort of responsibility whatsoever. Just talk trash and not take any responsibility.
Yeah, I agree.
Hinged. When you've got people like Matt Walsh in the Daily
listen,
Wire, the
we're talking
president
to a guy who said he'd be okay with his own parents getting killed if they went to that Trump rally where that assassination attempt
and we're talking
happened.
to a
There's
woman
no
who went
reasoning
on and
with
did
you,
the whole
Destiny.
conservative media
There's
outlet with
there's
Tucker
no
Carlson
reasoning
and
with
Glenn
you.
Beck, and had
Okay.
nothing bad to say whatsoever. I know where your bread is buttered. I know where
And
you're
it was
making your money
great. I
from.
had
Okay, that's
awesome
great.
conversations.
Do
I
with
don't
the person,
regret it
I
at
know,
all.
that's great.
I also had a
And keep up with the
conversation
personal
with Jack
attacks 'cause you're
Posobiec
so
on her
brain
take. It was
broken.
awesome.
Yeah, I know.
That's
Jack,
what
the guy over there that gets
democracy is
paid
about.
by
Having
Russia
an
that lies
exchange of
about every other thing that
ideas.
comes out of his
Yeah.
mouth. Yeah,
All
great.
right, let
That's
me
a good
bring
one.
in.
Right.
Let me
Very
I
bring
don't
in.
agree with him on everything, but at
Still
least we
to
can
this
have
day.
dialogue.
Anna,
No
Anna,
one on
you're
here can
completely
call
right,
that
by the
dialogue.
way.
Sure is
Anna
happening
is
right now.
completely
Charlie,
right.
didn't it?
And the irony of Charlie Kirk is that he led the way in going in to debate with people who hated him, and he would
No,
try and
he
have
didn't.
respectful
Charlie
dialogue.
Kirk beat up
Well,
on college students.
unlike
That's all
you,
he did.
Destiny.
Let's be
Let me
real.
bring
Unlike
Andrew
me,
Wilson
I'm
in.
So do
here,
you.
aren't I? Yeah.
Let me
What do you
bring
mean?
in
So do
Andrew
you.
Wilson.
So do you. You beat up on college students. You go on a college. You're
Charlie
going on a
Kirk was
college
trying to
tour
hold
right
higher
now
level
to
debates
beat
than you
up
guys
on
held.
college students. What are you talking about, Destiny? That's what you're doing right this second. Is going on a college tour to go beat up on college students. By the way, can I just ask you a
I
question?
don't
Yes or no?
exclusively beat up on college.
Can you actually answer? Can you actually answer? Hang on, calm down. I just got one question. I got one question for you, and I want you to actually answer it. Are you glad Charlie Kirk is dead?
No, I don't think anybody in this country should be dying to political violence. It's insane. The past 5 years
Then
in this
just
country
not
is
answering the
crazy.
question.
But the reality
So
is,
then-
Yeah.
So then why did you say to your co-host that Trump deserved a bullet? Why did you tell him that?
Until conservatives have to say, hey, we all need to be less violent, there's no purpose
Oh
in
my
Democrats
gosh.
doing it, because every time Democrats disavow, you further entrench your guys' delusional beliefs that all the violence is coming on the left. Donald Trump can go on TV. He can say, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. They can go on Parler and say, we heard you. They can go to the Capitol and break in and try to insurrect. They can get convicted in front of a jury, and then Donald Trump can pardon them, and we can come out and go, hey, guys, why aren't Democrats disavowing violence? And pretend that the problem is coming from the left. Democrats do a disservice to this country by disavowing violence constantly when the president of the United States
Let me
won't go
respond
on
quickly.
TV and say all
Let
of
me
us need to
respond
be less
quickly,
violent. How
Destiny.
easy would
So
that
the
be?
thing is, why did you say to your co-host
Yeah, keep
that
focusing on me.
the
Keep
bullet
focusing on me.
that the
I'm
bullet
not here to
that
play.
the bullet was for Trump? Why did you say to your co-host that the best place for the bullet was Trump? Why did you say that?
Why did Donald Trump call
It's a
Kamala fascist?
whataboutism.
That's what's causing people to
Whataboutism.
go- Yeah,
I'm
that's what you're
asking you
doing
a
right
question.
Now, whataboutism. The
I can't be a
conversation is about
whataboutism
what I
if it's
said.
my
The
question,
conversation is,
Destiny.
Why won't Donald Trump disavow
Answer
violence in
the
United
question.
All right, why don't we do this? Why don't we
Why did
do
you say
this?
that?
Why don't we
Ah.
do this before I cut
Such an easy
mics?
question.
Because you don't care.
Destiny,
You don't care that Kirk's dead. Just be
Destiny,
honest,
allow
you fuck.
Andrew,
Just be
allow
honest, you
Andrew,
fuck.
allow Andrew to.
Man, that jaw of Destiny is working overtime right now. I could see the smoke coming out of it.
Remember what I said? He didn't answer the question. He's still not answering. Like I said, he's obfuscating and lying, actually. So to me, I think that when you're omitting something, that's also a lie, which is what Destiny's doing. So he's doing two things. He's omitting the truth here, which is also a lie, by the way, and also obfuscating and running from this, which means he's also not going to still condemn the murder. So that's two accounts that I could hold him to if this were really a debate. So this doesn't really make any sense, and not answering the question. This is crazy.
Yeah, this is wild. Thank you very much, WR332, for the $20 dono. Thank you very much, man. Destiny has a long history of bad hot takes and argues in bad faith. Oh, yeah, definitely. He doesn't come to exchange ideas. It's all sophistry. They allow this disgusting guy on for views and clicks. By the way, Anna has to drag Cenk towards center. Yeah, I don't know how, I don't know how successful she is going to be at that, but definitely. Thank you very much for the dono, man.
Repeat his question and let him ask the question, then you answer it. Okay, Andrew?
No, I want to
Oh
hear
my
the other
gosh.
question.
Let him ask the question.
Donald Trump.
Let him
disavow
ask
violence in
the
this
question, Destiny, and then you answer it. Andrew.
Destiny told his co-host when asked point blank if he wanted the bullet to kill Trump, that the worst thing that could have happened was the bullet missing. He said this to Pisco. I watched it. Okay. This guy's an obfuscation machine. And if you know what else, Destiny, why should we believe you? I think you are glad Kirk is dead. And all of your tweets seem to prove that. And you would have been happy if Trump was assassinated. You've made that very clear. So why not just be truthful for once in your fucking life and say the truth, that you don't care that Kirk is dead and you're actually probably glad he is. Isn't that really what's true?
I don't want anybody in this country to die to political violence. I don't think in the United States of America that should be happening. I don't know why it's so hard for the president to say the same. I
Oh
think
my
it'd be the
gosh.
easiest thing in the world as a president.
Dude.
Biden did it for 4 years. That's why everything was way cooler when he was here, like in terms of temperature. The Clintons have no problem saying it. Barack Obama has no problem saying it. Kamala Harris has come out and said it. Every Democratic lawmaker and leader has basically come out and said it. But for some reason on the Republican side, it's just civil war, civil war, civil war. And the Republican president of the United States, who has presided over more violence politically in this country, more large protests than any president in all of U.S. history, for some reason can't bring himself to say, all of us need to calm down. And
So
it's
did Trump deserve the bullet? Did Trump deserve the bullet?
What'd you say, Marte?
Still can't answer the question. Still has yet to
Yeah.
answer the 3 questions he's been asked. The number one question that he was asked was, can you denounce the murderer? And also, do you not, are you celebrating the murder? And also, did you not say this to your co-host during Pisco's debate? This doesn't make any sense. So these are 3 things. He's an obfuscation machine. Like I've said before, Andrew called him on this before. Mind you, I've never watched this video, and I called him on this. So he's also deflecting the whole time. He won't answer a single damn question. Crazy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Saying I don't want anyone dying for political violence isn't the same thing as saying I condemn Charlie Kirk's murderer. You know what I mean? It's one of those things that it sounds like he's answering the question, but he's really not. It's like a little trick of words, you know? Little sleight of hand.
Slimy destiny. Right.
Yeah, exactly. Slimy destiny.
Because all you care about are the political hit jobs.
Just
It's
answer
actually
the
insane to
question,
me.
bro.
It's
Did
so
Trump
insane
deserve
to
the
me.
bullet?
Did Donald Trump
Did he deserve
disavow
the
violence
bullet?
on his side ever? Did Donald Trump
Answer
disavow
the
violence on his
question.
side
Did
ever?
Trump deserve the bullet?
You can't answer the question. We're here to play.
No, bro,
to
it's
find
my turn
tweets
to ask the
YouTube
question.
video
It's your
clips.
turn to answer.
It's
Did
YouTube video
Trump deserve
clips.
the
and it's-
bullet?
Did Trump disavow violence in this country ever?
Oh my
Did
gosh.
he deserve the bullet? Yes, he's
Answer my
disavowed
question, I'll
violence.
answer you.
But again, I just did. Now your turn. Now your
Not just
turn.
on the radical
It's
left.
your
Did
turn.
Donald Trump?
Did
then
Trump
no,
deserve the
I
bullet?
never said that. No, I never said that. No.
Okay, except you did to your co-host.
No,
You
I
said,
didn't. Oh, wait. When did
your
Donald Trump
exact
disavow?
words-
Wait. When did Donald Trump
your
disavow
exact
violence
words
in this
to your
country?
co-host, you lying sack of shit. If he wanted
I'm the lying
to
sack
kill
of
Trump,
shit?
the
No
worst
way.
thing that
Oh,
could have
wait,
happened
Donald Trump
was the
disavowed
bullet
all
missing.
political violence. And
That's what you
this,
said,
and this is
bro.
yeah. And this is where when
You're
you're
the
putting
biggest lying sack of
YouTubers, when you're
shit,
putting YouTubers and tweeters on the same level as the president of the United States, this is why conservatives are absolutely brain broken when it comes to violence in this country. And that's why it'll continue.
But
There'll be more
Destiny,
deaths.
but
Maybe it'll
Destiny,
be me at the
Thank you very much for the $5 dono WR332. Again, thank you very much. Did Destiny ever apologize for the dead fireman? Oh wait, he double tripled down. He celebrated the guy's death, which is a political driven killing. Yeah, exactly. He said some awful things about Corey Comprentor, and he's always saying vile things like about Trump almost getting assassinated, about the Charlie Kirk death. That's what I mean. Like, is this just trolling or what's with this dude?
I don't know. He has an agenda clearly, and this agenda is basically him digging his feet in the sand. I see this right now. I don't have to be a mind reader to know this. And he's not moving. He's denying questions. He actually admitted this. He said, are you comparing YouTubers to the president? This is like a damn near admission of this. But anyways, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Destiny.
Well, I do agree
Destiny.
you wanted to
And you
continue.
guys are
Destiny.
not going to turn around and be like, I can't believe it. What's going on?
Destiny.
What's happening here?
Okay,
Yeah.
Destiny, if you care so much about political violence in America, why don't you lead the way yourself without
can't,
mentioning
because
anybody
one
else?
side-
Why don't
because
you?
one side-
Why don't you, Destiny, right now just outright condemn the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Because we've been doing that for a decade. One side can't
can't
turn
do it,
down
can you?
the temperature.
You can't
The other
do
side
it.
can't turn down the temperature. If Donald Trump can't, then the left shouldn't until he does.
Got it.
Republicans
Okay, you don't want to do it.
need accountability
Okay,
for
Jack-
their actions. They need some responsibility for the insanity.
had
they
it coming,
cause.
didn't
Even though
he,
you've
Destiny?
taken on
He had
yourself.
it coming.
Let me bring in Jack Posobiec.
We absolutely,
All right,
Democrats will
that's
take
enough,
accountability when
Destiny.
it's their
I'll bring
fault.
in Jack Posobiec.
Yeah,
Jack,
okay. Nice. Both sides it.
Jack.
Yeah.
What is your response to this?
I mean, Piers, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, this type of ideology where you've got someone who's willing to mock Erica, who's been standing strong for her family, for her children, who's just she will never be able to grow old with Charlie. She will never be able to be with them again, have more children, to have grandchildren, to have those memories, to raise them. It's all gone. Every single moment of that future that they had was gone because someone fired a bullet at Charlie Kirk that said, "Hey, fascist, catch." And now you have people celebrating it. And when you ask people
That's
about
not even
it,
the
they
bullet
say,
that was fired.
"Oh,
How are you lying
oh,
about this?
shut
even?
up, Destiny.
Holy
Shut
shit!
up.
You're so
Shut
shameless,
up.
dude. Oh my god! You're not even inside the right bullet. You're such a disgusting
Piers.
piece of shit. Holy fuck!
What a
Piers.
pedantic
Are we-
point. What a
are we
It's not
even gonna do
pedantic.
this?
The guy's a fucking
It's
professional
total
liar.
Are we even
pedantry.
gonna do
It's
this?
total
Epic and base.
pedantry. Total.
I love that we're just kind of just telling these people to shut up. You know, I saw this a little bit when when Cenk was on there with Konstantin Kisin. Konstantin Kisin just straight up tell this other dude just to shut up. And it's like we're getting to that point where it's like we've had enough of them. You know what I mean? We had enough of their bullshit and gaslighting.
Yeah, it's funny. You could see their own side turning on themselves and eating themselves alive. Like Anna, which I've never, I mean, 3 years ago, if you'd have told me that she would have been turning against Destiny, I would have just told you that you were just telling me fish stories or something crazy like that. But right now we're watching this as people are telling Destiny to literally shut up, as Destiny's calling him a liar and told 3 lies at the same time and obfuscates the whole time. He's just an omission machine. This doesn't really make any sense. He just eats. I mean, they're just eating their own, and I'm watching this as well too. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Thank you very much, James, for the $9.99 dono. Got nothing, just wants to support. Thank you very much, James. Appreciate it.
Are we
Guy
gonna
probably
do
I
this?
would like to let
Jesus.
Jack. I would like to let Jack finish his point, please.
Yeah,
and,
his
and,
little rant
and they'll
here, yeah.
claim there's no leftist connection. They'll claim there's no there and then go so far as to lie and say there's some kind of Christian conservative connection when you could see the writing on the bullet casings. And so you know these are very common symbols associated, whatever. The point is, right, it should be very, very clear. Are we connected with our humanity or are we not? And some people are willing to do that. Anna's been willing to do that. We've done shows together. They've been fine. They've been good. We've jousted. We've done the back and forth. Destin and I in the past have had shows together where before he kind of took this turn. And you think there are people who can just be willing to stand up for humanity.
You know, Jack, it reminds me a bit of the journey I've gone on, very different circumstances, but the Israel-Hamas war. The reason I asked everybody on the pro-Palestinian side for months after the war started, do you condemn what Hamas did, is I think it was very enlightening as to the humanity of the person by how they responded. If their immediate response was, of course I do, the mass murder of civilians on October the 7th was a horrendous atrocity, then we can move on to an intellectually honest debate. If they refuse to condemn what Hamas did, it's a completely different debate. And similarly, right now, I feel if you can't condemn a lot of what the IDF are doing, frankly, it's my opinion, in Gaza, then the same thing. If you're unequivocally like it's all fine with 20,000 plus kids being killed, then I've got a problem with that too. But I do think you've got to try and maintain in all of these debates a modicum of humanity about people who are actually being killed. And what is terrifying about the mindset of a lot of people on the woke left I've seen since Charlie Kirk's death is the brazen glee that they're taking to his murder. And then when I see even Destiny, who's a very well-followed person on the internet, well-known, when Destiny, frankly, if you can't bring yourself just to say the murder was horrific and should never have happened, it's a very simple sentence. It's just basic humanity. It really makes me despair for where everything is going, because it's indicative of the mindset of, I can't give an inch to my political opponents, therefore I lose my humanity. How can that be right?
Because you can't give an inch to political opponents that won't recognize or acknowledge anything they've done is wrong. It's all it's done is gotten us
But
here.
that's-
This is where we're at because of that.
Isn't that literally what Destiny's doing
The
right now,
irony-
though?
The irony, yes, exactly. It's very ironic because he's doing the same thing that he's accusing the other people of doing. And it's like there's no self-awareness at all in this man, which
Yeah.
He's like a child. By the way, I look forward to. I predicted this already. Me and Destiny would run into each other, but I look forward to eviscerating him in the next debate. That happens.
Hell yeah, same here.
Exact mindset. Will any of the conservatives here acknowledge the conservative that murdered Melissa Hortman and her husband and shot the other senator in Minnesota?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, just
that it was
about
a
all
conservative
political
shooter?
violence.
Yeah.
No. That it was a conservative shooter?
I don't know the details on that particular case. If
Of
I
course,
did,
yeah,
and
of
it
course
turned
they
out that
don't,
it was it turned out it was the case, of course, I would say that such violence should be disavowed. Thing is, you can't hold your entire moral standard based on what you think Trump is doing or not doing. What does that have to do with you, Destiny? It has nothing to do with you. You can easily
Exactly.
just
to do
say,
with is that
you
when
can lead by
conservatives
example and say,
refuse
let's
to
all
acknowledge-
tone down the
You can't
violence.
lead by
That's
example.
what
You're
you
not the
want,
president
right?
of the United States. That's what Democrats have been doing.
Wait,
for
you
the
can't
last
lead by
decade.
example because you're not the president? That's
No,
the
when one
stupidest thing I've
side-
heard
if
today.
one
Destiny.
side-
So what? So is Destiny saying the only way he could get down to violence only if Donald Trump does? Like, what is he trying to say here? It doesn't make any sense.
He's just stubborn. That's what it is. He's just classically digging his feet in the sand and not moving it an ounce or an inch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wants to fight and the other side doesn't, then you're going to fight. One side can't decide not
What
to
are you
fight,
talking?
but the other
That
side
makes no
decided to.
sense. What does that have
What do
to
you
do
mean
with
it
you?
makes no
You
sense?
can-
If
you
some
can
guy comes up to
easily-
you to
you
fight,
can easily
and the
just
other
say it
side
now,
says, I don't
Destiny.
want to, you don't really have the choice there.
Lead
That's
by
how fighting
example, then.
works.
Lead by
You
example.
can't lead by
and show
example.
us.
That's called dying.
You can.
Actually,
Right
I
now,
thought-
you
I
do
thought-
it right
I
now.
actually
Second
thought-
Amendment rights.
Do it right
I
now.
actually
Destiny.
thought.
Do it.
Let me jump in.
Because you're
I-
actually happy
Let me
about
jump
it,
in
Destiny.
here.
Just be
I
honest,
actually,
you're happy
I actually
about it.
felt that Anna hit the nail on the head here, which is she did not need to wait for Donald Trump to comment on this
Exactly.
to make her own mind up about what had happened. That is intellectual honesty, right? Yes, it may have been somebody that she totally
Anna's
disagreed
a
with on
right-wing
many
talking
issues.
head. Why, yeah,
The
no, of
simple,
course she can do
humane thing
this.
to do with any event like this is to ask yourself, how do I personally feel about it? Not what does Donald Trump think about it, or what does Joe Biden think about it, or what does Timbuktu think about it? It's what do I personally feel about this? It didn't take me very long, Destiny, to understand that I felt repulsed by the execution of somebody in cold blood with his wife and 2 young children there watching. It's a human reaction. I don't need to know what Donald Trump thinks about it at all. I don't understand why you need to wait for him before your own
I don't
humanity
need to
kicks
wait for
in.
anybody. No, you're not asking how we feel about it. You're asking what the public statements should be. And the public statements should be
No,
the
I'm
president of
not.
the United States.
I'm not.
Yes, you are.
No,
You're
I'm
asking
not.
me for a public statement
I'm
right
asking,
now.
where
Isn't
is
it
your
great watching a
humanity? You
colleague
can't
getting
just
murdered?
say the
Where
murder
is your
was
humanity,
wrong.
peers? You guys are playing into this exactly. I think you probably know it. I think Cornell was right about this. You know where your bread is buttered as well. You guys play into this. It's insane to me that the president of the United States can't say, hey, all of us need to be less violent. We all need to calm the fuck down. That the president of the United States can't say this, but you will endlessly scour Twitter and YouTube for leftists to bring on and say, don't you guys disavow the violence? It's absolutely absurd to me.
You know, Cornel West should have stayed in his seat. We were debating free speech, actually, and whether
You're not
the
debating free
and
speech.
whether
It's not
well,
even
let me
an equivalent
finish.
conversation,
Let me finish,
Piers.
and whether
It's
the
insane.
overuse of words like Hitler, Nazis, and fascists was actually empowering deranged young minds to think they were battling actual new Hitler, Nazis, and fascists. And actually, when Andrew pointed out to Cornell that he had used the phrase neo-fascist about Trump, that's when Cornell decided he couldn't take part in the debate anymore, when he was reminded of something he had said. He didn't try and deny it. He just said, I don't want to have this debate, and left.
Piers, how long have you been in the United States, like following our politics?
Over 20 years, I've lived and worked in America.
Okay, if you've lived and worked in America, I grew up as a conservative listening to Rush Limbaugh and to Glenn Beck
Yeah.
and to Billy Cunningham and to Sean Hannity. You're going to sit here and pretend like Democrats are the ones that started the name calling? I heard them call Obama and the Clintons
I didn't say
socialists and
that.
communists.
When did I say
I
that?
heard them call. I'm just saying, why are we pretending that some
Wait,
people
I'm saying,
you
why
grew
did
up in a white
Cornel
Christian
West-
household?
Why
and you're
would
a
Cornel
leftist?
West
I thought
walk
that
out
couldn't
on a
happen 5
debate when we're
minutes ago.
literally talking about the importance of speech? Makes no sense to me.
If speech is important, then the president should exercise it more cautiously.
So should
And
you.
Republicans
So
and
should
Republicans
you.
have been.
No accountability. Lingering drama. Trump has denounced the violence. Yeah, he said the left causes, but at this point, it is. It's clearly one side that's doing it. Like it's majority. Like I saw this meme where it was like, where it's like two sides, like the left and the right, and like you see the little I forgot what they're called, but the little crossouts, and it's like you see just a little bit from here on the right, and then a ton on the left, and the guy's like, "See, both sides do it." But no, we can't go on with this lie that it's both sides because it's not. It's not equally both sides. What do you have anything to add, Marte?
No. I mean, he will point out the stark minority and then say, hey, see, it's them, just like J6 when that happened. There was less people causing damage. The majority of them were peacefully just there, not causing any damage. And matter of fact, there was nobody that was convicted as a insurrectionist. So, I mean, back to this. He's just uttering the same talking points, and there's no accountability in Destiny at all.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You can't stop.
You've got millions of followers, and you think it's fine to show them you're mocking a widow.
You cannot choose for your opponent not to fight you.
Fine.
If Republicans won't turn down the rhetoric, then who cares? Donald Trump shouldn't have used the rhetoric that led her to be killed. 2 days before she dies,
cares that you mocked a grieving widow?
This is all. It's just virtue signaling. You guys are excited about it. You guys love it.
How is it? How is it that you said this guy can't possibly be a leftist?
It's exciting to you. It's insane to me.
Yeah.
No,
how is it that you said this guy can't be a leftist because he grew up in a white Christian household? When you grew up in a white Christian household by your own admission just now, and you're a fucking leftist, Destiny.
I'm 36 years old. This guy was 22, and he lived at home.
What does that have to do with anything?
Yeah.
What does that have to do with anything?
I had 20 years to separate myself from my parents' ideology. I didn't live with them still. Jesus.
So 6 months, 1 year, 20 years? Why does it matter how long it took to separate? You just got to say it was impossible, and you yourself are a leftist who grew up in a Christian conservative household, dude.
I mean, and that doesn't have anything to do. Destiny's logic makes no sense. What does it matter if these lived out? Yeah, like Andrew said, out of the house for any certain amount of time. There are people who still live in their parents' homes that still do horrendous things that their parents totally don't endorse or condone or anything like that. That the school shooter that we just had, they were still living with their parents, and the parents, you know what I'm trying to say here? It's not like, oh, the parents raised them to be that way.
Well, here's the other thing. Notice how far we are off the prompt. Destiny's good at doing this too. He's good at diverging and projecting for everything else and pointing other things that have nothing to do with the current debate and topic. Now we're on how he grew up and everything else, but it's like he's dying by a sword that he created, which has nothing to do with this conversation. He's obfuscating as usual and making himself look bad. This is typical Destiny.
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
Hold on, I'm sorry. You think that a 22-year-old has as much time to separate himself from the ideology that he grew up with as a 36-year-old?
Didn't say
yeah, you just made the comparison, dipshit. Of course you did. It's not.
Let me ask you.
Look at you.
Point. Let me jump in. Let me jump in. Let me ask Jack. Jack, you know the Kirk family well. You've been around the Kirk family, I think, since this appalling murder has happened. When you hear Destiny saying, who cares about the fact that he openly, publicly mocked Erica Kirk, a grieving widow, within literally a day or two of her husband being murdered? How does that make you feel as a friend of the family?
It's very angry, Piers, you know. And here's the thing is she's seeing all of it. She's going to see all of it. Her kids are going to watch this video one day. It's just, that's sort of the nature of reality now. They will see all of this, and they will see the reaction. And I just hope that those of us who
Why is he laughing?
knew Charlie, worked with Charlie, who knew Charlie beyond the, TikToks and short videos, can also be there for those kids as they grow up, to let them know who their dad was.
And kids are going to grow up and watch old episodes of Piers Morgan uncensored. How performative is this? Is everybody here? Did we all get like a script before the show? What?
They watch a lot of old episodes of the JFK.
You make the left look so bad, and you don't even realize it. You are seriously so embarrassing.
Okay, yeah.
God.
You can talk to your best friend.
You really are.
I mean, like,
later,
you have another 30-minute conversation about Anna.
Maybe I will. Maybe I will talk to Glenn Beck about it. Oh, is that is that naughty? Is it
how
naughty?
many conversations have you had with Nick? You had more conversations with Nick than anyone.
So mean. Oh no, not the meanies on Twitter.
Anna,
How many
finish
more
your point.
lawsuits are you
Chicken
going
and
to face
waffles
from
with
women
Nick
that you
Fuentes?
allegedly secretly
What do you mean?
recorded during intimate moments? Destiny, I can't believe
Ooh.
anyone
Are you
takes you
are you
seriously.
really?
You're
You want to
disgusting.
pull out Twitter?
You're
You wanna pull out
embarrassing,
Twitter rumors
and
now?
you
Yeah,
should be
keep going,
shunned
Anna.
from
Yep.
public life with
Keep
your
playing it.
disgusting
My
treatment
God, I can't
of all
believe you
sorts
got
of
bullied
people,
so hard
including
on
young
Twitter. This is what you
left-wing
become.
girls,
You're
women
turning
that you
more
victimized
blonde right now
allegedly.
in the window. You're
Yeah,
so
that's who
you're
you
like
are.
2 shades away from
You're
being a news
embarrassing.
host, Anna.
You
Keep going.
Dude.
Young left wing women. That's the thing, though, is like he's and he won't stop. He keeps going and digs this hole even further. To me, this doesn't make any sense. And notice, I wanted to point out something that he said, which slipped under the radar, maybe not beyond what Andrew Wilson didn't catch, but I'm saying, I don't care. When asked about the death, notice how he said, "We don't care." This is an admission that he's saying. Not only will he not condemn, but he's also layering on the thickness of "we don't care" as well too. This makes no sense. So we know his position is vitriol and fanning the flames. Even more so, he's demonstrating that as we speak, as he speaks right now.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
Embarrass the left. You're the type of person who pushes people away from the left.
So close,
Make sure you understand that. You're
Yep.
embarrassing. There's no morality with you. There's no grounding
Absolutely
values.
not.
There's
Of
no
course
principles.
not. Yeah.
All you want is attention, 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 attention. That's all you
Absolutely.
want.
Yeah, of course.
all
Well,
you
you
want.
and Jen talking about
Endless
how
attention.
9/11 was
Say
caused by the
disgusting,
Jews, and you have
provocative
another
garbage.
another
You
friendly
want
conversation with
attention.
another
Yeah.
mainstream conservative commentator about how you're such a leftist, but those people on Twitter are so mean.
Having a debate or dialogue doesn't automatically mean that you agree with everything they have to say. It means you're coming
No, it's
together
when you sit down and you're
exchanging
exchanging
ideas
say.
and
Then
debating
you agree with everything they have
them.
to say.
No, I don't agree with everything they have to
You
say.
do.
What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah, you do.
I
Of
don't
course
agree
you
with
do. What
everything
do you
they have
mean?
to say. But I'm
When
an
you
adult.
sit down and
I
all
can
of your
sit down and
criticisms
have a
are
mature
for the
debate
left,
or
and you have
conversation.
no disagreements about anything on the right, yeah, that's called
I do have
agreement. Is usually what we
criticisms for the
call it.
left. I have tons of criticisms for the right. Tons of criticisms. I'm obviously
they don't seem to come out
pro-choice,
much
for
when you're
instance.
talking to
I
your
obviously
conservative
have a
friends.
huge
Oh, the big guns,
problem
yeah.
with the unending, unmitigated support for Israel, regardless of the genocide they're engaging in. I have all sorts of disagreements with the right. That doesn't mean I'm going to dehumanize them and cheer on the slaughter of my fellow Americans because we have disagreements on politics. You're
I
embarrassing.
wish anybody here had the same energy for the president of the United States, but that's good. I'm
Oh
glad
my
you guys are
gosh.
focused where it really counts on Twitter and
Dude,
YouTube.
you
which
have
is what the
like
conservatives want you to be
TDS,
focused
like
on, you know?
you are like the prototype of
TDS,
TDS.
yeah, there it
It's
comes, yeah.
unbelievable.
The
You wake
TDS,
up every
yes.
morning and you decide your
Yes,
behavior is going to
true.
hinge on Trump.
Tell me
Who
more about
are
the
you as
dancing
an individual?
Israelis and
God,
Building
have a
7
little bit
and
of
how the
humanity.
Jews all knew about 9/11
You're a
and they all want us to go to war
You're
in the
a
Middle East. Yeah, of course.
sociopath.
Let me
I
bring
never
in-
once said the Jews
Let me
were
bring in
behind
Jack
9/11.
again.
Not
Well, actually, she has said that the Jews were behind 9/11, which is funny because she brought up the whole his lawsuit with the whole recording, girls and I guess guys too. You know how destiny swings, both. But he now brings up all the conspiracy theories that her and Jank are talking about with the Jews and stuff like that. Like you said earlier, it's kind of great when the left eat their own.
Well, it's not only that, but if you notice, because of course I like paying attention to the little things, he's accusing her of not attacking the right or doing anything. But notice, Destiny's a monologue machine now, and it hasn't given her any time to have space, any headspace to even attack the right or even point out problems with the right, because he's on this mountain that he wants to die on, and he won't stop this incessant prattling to even give her time to even correct the right or any conservative issues. And that's the problem there. He's not giving her any room to do this, but accusing her of not doing this. Ironic. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
once. Don't make things up, you disgusting prick.
Let me
That's
bring
okay,
in
don't
Jack
worry.
again. Let me
Damn.
bring in Jack again. Jack, Peter Navarro earlier was talking about directly to Elon Musk about, in his view, the urgent need for Elon Musk to detoxify X, given that he owns the platform, and that he blamed X for a lot of the toxicity in public discourse. What do you feel about that?
Well, I think there's obviously a tension between, standing and wanting free dialogue and freedom of speech, but also maintaining a line beyond calling for violence and calling for direct violence or direct criminal activity. So, X in its original Twitter fashion, if you go all the way back to, 2012, 2010, when it was really getting going, they used to pretty much the main things that were banned or would get taken down or get accounts banned were posting of direct addresses of people, so doxing, or posting direct threats to violence. And so I think there needs to be that line set of this is acceptable discourse. This is a back and forth, but the idea that a direct call for violence should be banned, I think that's something that I would support.
Andrew, what do you feel about the social media aspect of all this? Do you think that it is culpable to a degree in the surging toxicity of debate about these things?
Look, social media is a tool. And what social media has done right now is it's allowed us to get a glimpse into leftist ideology, finally. Yeah. And we get to see the insane madness that was always there. And the fact of the matter is that, here on the panel right this second, you have a guy who celebrated a multitude of these types of things, including telling his co-host that basically Trump, the worst place that the assassin could have put the bullet was anywhere other than Trump. I mean, I got the clip of him doing it. And so the thing is like what we've noted now, these people are glad. They're glad. They're happy. They love it. I go on TikTok all the time and I debate with these people. It's very clear that leftists are glad that this happened and that they're going to do everything they can to promote more of it. And we're supposed to base our behavior on what the president does or doesn't say. What, like if I had Biden derangement syndrome, I couldn't still come out and condemn political violence? Of course I could. But the thing is
I'm just curious, anybody have any words for the fact that Charlie Kirk said that Biden should have been executed?
Leftists collectively can't seem to do that, though. I don't know why they can't seem to do that.
No, that was fine when Charlie Kirk said it. Okay,
Anna, I want to mention something to you, which I was going to talk to Cornel West
Charlie
about.
Kirk was a moderate. He was more moderate than a local electrician.
Yeah, nice pivot.
He was more moderate than a local electrician. And you know that, by the way.
He said he wanted to see Biden.
You have debated with the worst, and I've seen you do it. You know.
Biden executed. Okay? Give me a fucking break.
No, that's not what he said. That's not what he said. He said if you violate criminality in criminal laws, then that will be the case.
All right, I want to ask Anna.
There's not what's performative. What's performative?
Oh, wait, so I say, oh well, I think that guy was a criminal, therefore the execution is okay. Somehow that makes everything fine with no investigation, no criminal charges.
You say all the time that your political opponent should be in jail and highest extent of the law. You say it all the time. What are you talking about?
Sorry, no, that's Donald
saying
Trump.
the word performative doesn't mean anything.
The National Guard right now.
Oh, it's just performative.
Investigations into every
that's just
performative.
performative.
I want to bring Anna back in. I want to bring Anna back in. Okay, I want to bring Anna back in because the president-elect of the Oxford Union, probably the most premier debating society in the world. I've done it several times myself. George Aberonye reportedly posted several. He didn't reportedly. He did post several comments in a WhatsApp group, appearing to celebrate the murder of Charlie Kirk. One said, "Charlie Kirk got shot. Let's fucking go." Another one was, I think, LOL. This guy is going to be the president of the Oxford Union Debating Society. And yet he is celebrating the murder of somebody he literally debated himself in the Oxford Union in May. I found that terrifying. I mean, he shouldn't still be in the job, because how can you possibly be the head of a debating society when you think the way to debate with people is murder them if they don't agree with you? But again, the gleeful celebration. This is supposedly one of the brightest students in Britain. President of the new Oxford Union Debating Society.
He can't be that bright if he's not considering what a political assassination could potentially lead to. Because where does this end? And that's like one of my biggest issues with a portion of the left. Their inability to see past the current moment, right? You're celebrating it, but what's the long-term goal here? Is the long-term goal to just have to descend to an environment of endless political assassinations and violence? And if we're going to have the left go up against the right in terms of violence, in terms of bloodshed, in terms of shootings, I don't know. I would just venture to say that the right is probably going to do a better job in, taking people out than the left is. This is just a really disgusting, sick ideology, and we need to move away from it. And again, I want to emphasize your personal behavior, the way you choose to behave and respond to things on a day-to-day basis has an impact. Okay, be the change you want to see in the world. So when you have a huge audience And that audience of young people who look up to you, who feel inspired by you, hear you essentially minimize political violence or even make excuses for it or deflect by blaming Trump for everything. Well, you're essentially indoctrinating people to support and normalize political violence. We can't be doing that. I don't care how people behave on the right. That's not going to have an impact on how I personally choose to behave. I want to be better than that. I want to preach dialogue, okay? Debate, have these conversations. And Charlie Kirk, the last debate he and I had, Destiny would like you to believe that I agree with the right on everything. I don't agree with the right on everything. We debated about whether or not you have to have children in order to care about the future of this country. So we have a debate and it's fine. He has a right to his opinions. I have the right to mine. If you care about democracy, the democratic process is reliant on having these types of conversations and reliant on not resorting to violence because you're unable to articulate your arguments effectively against the other side. That's what I see this assassination as. Again, it was cowardice. It was disgusting. It was cold-blooded murder, and no one should be celebrating it. And no one should be mocking the family members of Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, very well said. I just want to thank all the panel for joining.
Yeah, I think Anna said it best right there. At the end of the day, it's like you can only control yourself, and the left, they're not taking any sort of responsibility. Destiny being the prime example right here in this debate. He's the representative of the left here, and he was showing exactly what the left are and the type of rhetoric that they continue to spew even after this horrific tragedy.
Well, not just that. I would like to say that he doesn't move if Trump doesn't move. He won't tell people to denounce anything unless Trump does. To me, he doesn't there's nothing indicative of leadership in what he does in his stance, which shows you that not only is he not a leader, but his ideology that he spews isn't leadership rhetoric. He doesn't do anything unless he follows. That's literally what he's saying. But if you tell him this in the debate, he's going to say, no, I have complete control over my audience and what they do. By his rhetoric right here, he doesn't. Because when it doesn't suit him or benefit him, he'll pawn it off to somebody else and project. But when he'll take ownership on anything that he has advantage of or he stands the gain of, he'll do this all day. So he has a double standard to which he will hold other people to. But himself doesn't have any accountability himself for. So this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think the left, like, they're not going to learn. They're just going to keep doubling, tripling, quadrupling down. And before you know it, their ideology, like their group is just going to keep getting smaller and smaller until they're not going to have any power left in this society. And I can't wait until that happens personally.
Yeah, they're losing people in mass. So that's the thing, though, is like I said, there's a massive migration and a conversion that's happening. I would even say that there's a big split, a massive migration happening. People are opening their Bibles for the first time on the left. They're saying, I'm disgusted by my own party's views. And then not to mention this, but it's fracturing and breaking up. As we speak, I'm seeing videos of people saying, you know what? I'm sick of people celebrating his death. Meanwhile, Destiny right now might as well be celebrating because Andrew Wilson called him out and said, hey, you're happy for his death. Notice how Destiny, by the way, didn't say, yeah, I'm happy or I'm not happy. He actually just pointed blame at Trump the whole time. And what is this? This isn't leadership qualities of anybody else by their kind. Meanwhile, he's responsible and doesn't own the onus is on him to denounce Trump, yet he still won't do by the end of this debate. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, no, exactly. 100%. Not a leader whatsoever, but he wasn't even a leader in his old household. You know what I mean? So I think that says it all pretty much about Destiny and his character and why, I don't know, maybe why he's all miserable all the time. But I have to say this for clipping purposes now. What did you guys think about this? Don't go anywhere yet. The stream's not over. I have to say this for clipping purposes. Leave a comment down in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this. Marte, where can everybody find you?
You can find me on X as Mighty Marte, and you can find me on the channel at On the Edge. I also have a Give, Send, Go if you want to send me to DebateCon. That would be awesome to actually attend because Sarah the Raging Tomato said, hey, you shouldn't pay for your own trip. help any. You should ask for your fan base to send you and actually put in a donation to help you go to DebateCon, so that way you can meet people who also support your debate. You can also find me on not just Twitter, but Instagram at _ the real Mighty Mouse. By the way, the last thing I do want to say is I look forward to debating Destiny next time, because watching him fail miserably in this just not only gives me so much fire and ammunition to destroy him even more so, but I look forward to decimating him and you covering the footage of this burial happening as Destiny fails in another debate. So I look forward to it.
Hell yeah. So if you guys like this one, I got more content on the screen that I think you'll enjoy.